recently I was watching a video between a podcaster, her name is Melissa and Deepak Chopra. And the lesson of the power of now is something that I have to keep relearning for myself. Hi everybody, how are you? I obviously headed to the gym, but before I did that, I really needed to get some thoughts out. I don't know why, but this is something that resonated to me the most in this video. And I wanted to share it because I feel like, and I have noticed, a lot of people have a lot of mental chatter, have a lot of things going on in their brain, in their head. And I've spoken about this, like my mental chatter at some point was so loud, I could not hear what was happening around me. I could not hear my kids, I could not hear my partner, I could not hear anything. And then through explorations and awareness exercises, I realized that this is just really like anxiety. Anxiety is really what was going on. A lot of anxiety. One of those people that I've had to learn how to work with my mental chatter, my anxiety, everything that is going on. And I have to admit today that my mental chatter is almost all gone away. And it is thanks to the power of now. So the power now says is, it basically is meditation, right? Is why we do practice meditation, is why we recommend journaling every morning, is why these practices have helped me lower my anxiety levels to very extreme low level compared to what I was having them before. And here's something that I wrote about the power of now. And something that Deepak Chopra said in his video, he said something like, the only way you can get out of now is through your imagination, right? And so you imagine the past that doesn't exist, and you imagine a future that also doesn't exist. And so you distract yourself from accepting the now. You distract yourself from accepting the now. And then I started thinking, like, why do we do that? Why do we distract yourself from our now? Why do we use all of these tactics, entertainment, living in the past, living in the future, to distract yourself from the now? And then I started thinking about it. And what came up for me was, when we are in the now, truly and wholly we are confronted with ourselves in a way in which past and future doesn't. We can imagine anything in the past and blame our past to our parents, to our upbringing. We can blame our past to whatever the situations was. Then we can imagine the future and blame the future on the economy. We can blame the future on the president. We can blame the future on others. We can blame our future on AI. We can blame our futures and our pasts, and easily. But on our now, we are confronted with ourselves. There is no one left to blame. And in the now, there's only you. And you have to own your own reality in the now. Today, right now, in this moment, even if I'm in front of somebody else, if I stay in my now, I stay in my body, I'm staying in the now, I cannot blame how I'm feeling on anybody else. I have to take responsibility of my present, of my reality, meaning, do I like what I'm seeing? Do I like the picture of me in this video? Do I like what I see in the mirror? Do I want to hang out with the person in front of me? Do I want to hang out with my head? In the now, I can hear me and see me and feel me way more than in past and the future. And so it becomes this task of like having to face yourself completely and fully and taking ownership and responsibility for your life, which you may not like. And I did not like. I did not like to be like, my life right now is, my life right now that was like, I was broke, I was heartbroken, I was in a situation that I didn't want to be in, I did not choose to be a single mom, like I felt like a victim. I felt like a victim of my own choices and circumstances. And I was victimizing myself over and over and over and over again. And so all I could think about was the future. I kept myself in the future fully. And I would say, thinking about the future is manifestation. It's like vision building. It's like, if I think about what I want in the future and bring it into my now, that is called manifestation, because it tells you to visualize and visualize and visualize and visualize. I had to learn this lesson for myself. That is not manifestation. That is potentially maybe a part of it, but just living in your future or living in what you wish you had, it's not manifestation. which also takes me to something else that he was talking about in this video, which has to do with manifestation. And this resonated with me very much as well. This of like living in the past and the future and being obsessed with it, right? It's what Deepak Chopra, I understand, calls it addiction. Also karma, right? Where you're trying to control things so much, but you're not accepting the reality of where you are. But you try to control everything because you're driving yourself crazy, basically. It's all you, by the way. It's all in your head. You create your own reality in this relationship right here between you and me. We gotta take ownership and responsibility for all of it, all of our life. So if you're with me, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So you create this all in your head. You drive yourself crazy. You think about the past. You think about the future. You're addicted to whatever it is, your status. You're addicted to your job. You're addicted to, substances. You're addicted to. You cannot let go. And if you let go, if you ever think about letting go, you die. That's how it feels. It feels so real. It feels like you're dying. You feel like you're gonna die. And guess what? I had to die. Part of me had to die in order to move forward. Part of me had to completely and utterly die. And we speak about life and death here in a way that is like metaphysical, right? Like everything lives and dies, and everything is born and dies every single moment at a micro level and a macro level. And specifically, parts of you can die and you can still survive. So I had to unalive parts of myself in order to move past this. And the next level of after addiction is like, Deepak says attachment. There's a level called attachment. Attachment is you will survive, but you suffer through it. There's a bigger conversation to be had here about detaching and suffering. It is not necessary for you to suffer. And we make it so for our own benefit. For some reason, we make it so that we need to suffer to detach in this level of experience, of human experience. So think about when I was in a relationship that really hurt me, and in order to detach, I realized this is ownership, right? Taking my part of the ownership. I realized that I had to go through so much suffering in order to be able to detach from it, because otherwise I was unable to detach. And it sucks. I'm learning this lesson. It sucks. I don't need to go through that level of suffering in order to detach. I can just let it go early and not having to go through all that suffering. But that's kind of like what I did, what I needed to do in order to do that and learn this lesson. Okay, the next level is intention. Deepak says intention is like you put out an intention and then you let go. This is still from the mind. You put out an intention. I want $1 million in my bank. I'm gonna work for that. I'm gonna take action to do that, but then I let go. I'm not attached to this. I just let it happen through action, still from the mind. The next level, he says, is subtle intention. So subtle intention, he says, is a yogic practice for manifestation. But subtle intention is from the spirit. And what happens in subtle intention, which I've experienced as well, is, and I'm experiencing more and more and more, it's amazingly freakish, but you put out an intention and then you see it synchronicity happen. You see everything coming and aligning for that intention. But that intention is from the spirit. It's not from the mind. It's from the spirit. It's from the heart. It's from your being, basically. And at this level is where you hear people say things like, do less, achieve more. If I have to pick a level where I'm at, but that's not true. I think I'm at different levels depending on the situation. I think I recognize that in my life, there are parts of me that are still very much in attachment, and are parts of me that are very much in subtle intention. I do recognize some parts of me that have been or are in addiction, where I feel like if something does not happen, I will die. And having kids, one of the addiction parts of it is definitely like managing the addiction towards the safety of my kids. I know that a lot of me right now is really, really working towards stepping into subtle intention, right? Like even with the relationship with my kids, and what I said is like, still want to work to having a subtle intention, to having a healthy relationship, because I cannot be so afraid time for them, but there's part of me that definitely want to protect them and don't want nothing bad to happen to them. I'm still working on that. Okay, so I think the last level that we talked about is subtle intention, but then he said there's actually one more level. And the other level is choiceless awareness. So choiceless awareness is beautiful the way he described it, because if subtle intention was do less and achieve more, subtle awareness is do nothing, achieve everything. And it's basically, the way he explained it, is basically when the universe works through you in order to achieve everything and accomplish everything. I think I cannot imagine it with my head, but I can feel it with my spirit, which is interesting, because that's probably the exact way you should be able to feel choiceless awareness. Is like, I cannot visualize it. I cannot put an image to choiceless awareness. I cannot potentially even speak of examples yet, but I know exactly what it feels like, and I can feel it with my spirit. So, do with that what you will. But through this experience, through this learning experience that I just had in this interview, it clarified to me, going back to being present, it clarifies to me a lot how important it is to be present and to understand what relationship with the universe, with your reality, are you in right now, so that you can have a more fulfilled life, so that you can be a more fulfilled human, so that you be happier and present and excited and like just full of life with everything you're doing today, right now, and now, and now, and now, and now. Okay, so spoke about this also in a past video, where I say that the power of now is to be in meditation all the time as well. So remember, we practice meditation as an exercise. A lot of people say, okay, I do yoga for 1 hour, 3 hours, whatever. And Deepak actually in the video said he does yoga for like 3 hours or something. He does meditation, his meditation practice for like 3 hours every day. But he also speaks about the fact that we can strive to achieve meditation all the time. And part of that process is to be in the now. Part of meditation is to be in the now, because that's with meditation, we train to be all the time in the now. So we want to basically elongate that meditation period to be as much as possible. I wouldn't say all the time, but as much as possible. We want to be in the now as much as possible. And we find ourselves thinking of the past or moving into the future with, with addiction or with attachment or whatever that is. Then I think there's power in coming back to the now and making choices now. Reminds me a lot of the living day by day, living moment by moment that AA preaches about. It's like making the choice right now. So right now, You need to make a choice about your life and how you make it better. So if you're bored right now with your life, make a choice to make your life a little bit more fun right now. You don't have to wait until tomorrow. You don't have to make excuses about what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, or if this and that and that. Right now, you can make a small choice about your now that will improve your life based on what you want in your life and following your heart and your spirit. And that's practice every now, especially if you haven't taken care of yourself in a long time, or if you've forgotten to take care of yourself. It's like, right now, what do I want to do? I want to drink some coffee. Right now, I want to make this video. I needed to make this video before I wanted to work out. I could have done it the opposite way. I could have said, no, I'm going to force myself to work out and then go make a video. No, this is my now. This is what I choose to do right now. And all these small choices will add up to a beautiful life that you can fondly think through one day, every day if you want to. But I hope that right now you choose yourself, you choose something that you love. And with that, I'll leave you here. I'll see you in my next video.